minutes to present their project in creative industries. If there is time left, we will hold a Q&A session. I hope we will have a great time. Let me introduce our speakers for today's session, those who drive creative industries in our republic. And the first one is Miss Tatiana Chernoguzova, the designer and author of the Your Yule project, as well as the director of the fashion film Yuha. Please be seated here. Yes, let's give her a huge round of applause. The next one, Mr. Rashid Asmanov is the brains behind the Kazan International Media Festival Noor. Please welcome Mr. Rashid as well. Mr. Alexander Nikolaev is one of the founders of the Kular Workshop. Please give him a warm welcome as well. Mr. Radik Abdurrahmanov is the founder of the Tugan Batir project and the Tugan National Tourist Complex. Please welcome Mr. Radik as well. And last but definitely not the least, Miss Yulia Talanova is the head of the year-round interactive park for adults and children, Forest of Miracles, in the residence of Kushbabai and Qar Kızı. Please welcome her as well. Well, we are all set to get started, and I'm switching to Russian for now. Уважаемые speakers.
Now, dear speakers, we are happy to greet all of you in our session on promotion of national and traditional cultures through creative entrepreneurs. 2023 was the year when Kazakhstan became one of top 5 regions in Russia in Russian National Index of Creative Industry. So therefore, this is a very important topic of the forum of OIC is a creative industry. The major areas of startups that are present in this room are fashion and design, media and art, thematic design, publishing, animation, and also we have representatives of the tourist clusters. According to the agenda, every speech can last for 10 minutes maximum. At the end, we are going to have a Q&A session if we have enough time. I wish these 1.5 hours to be productive and so that you feel comfortable and interested. I'm sure that during the presentations of the speakers, many foreign participants have noted that there are Tatar words in the name of practically all projects, and this is a very interesting trend because the topic of today's session, of right now session, is how the Republic of Tatarstan is promoting and popularizing the local rational code and national identity through creative industry. And the first speaker, the author of the project, Your Yule. She is also the director of the film Yuha, Tatiana Chernoguzova. Unfortunately, Tatiana, we cannot, because of the timing, we cannot see your film in full or even short film, but I would like to quote a line from the film. There is no future without past. Find your own path, which symbolizes the path in your project. Let us see in your presentation. Tatiana, over to you. Good day. I'm happy to greet everyone. Today I am feeling, just inspired, and I'm going to show you a lot of pictures. I'm a professional, I'm a visual person, and I'm going to tell you about my project. This is an author's project, and in spite of that, I was looking for answers for myself. When I was looking for answers about what is life about, I created the business for myself. And the project's name is Your Yule. Your means your, and Yule means path. Your path, your way. Your Yule, your path. Let me tell you what is. I'm just calling my project as a local project because, in fact, it's locally global. It is two foreign words, local and global, which are combined in English, the English language, which is widespread in the world, and Tatar language that not many people know. One of the tasks was to show the people in the world that Tatarstan and Tatars and the Tatar language and Tatar culture does exist. Main areas of work that are described by my brand is Tatars folklore, fairy tales, fashion, traditional Tatar clothes, different crafts that Tatar is famous with, and we should also just introduce new things, such as new technologies that help to provide new colors to our rich traditions. In the very beginning, let me just start from the very beginnings. My way has been for 3 years, but in the very beginning it was a search for myself, for my roots, for where my family comes from. Because when you go abroad, you can see that people are all different, and then you start reflecting on yourself. You start trying to understand where you came from, who your parents are, what created you. And this way, I started, getting into the culture of Tatarstan because my grandfather is Tatar, and now I travel more and I observe the world, and it became interesting for me to see new cultures, and this is also reflected in my brand. I'll try to speed up. I'll tell you how it all started. I won a grant for a fashion film with Tatar motifs, and one of the projects was to create clothes. These clothes served as a beginning of the brand, and it served as a business way to distribute resources, so you can do two things at the same time. The fashion film is based on traditional fairy tale, a Tatar fairy tale that starts with a folklore, and then it tells you about a alien, this is an alien. And in this film, I wanted to show you how traditional clothes could be combined with something modern and tell you an old story at the same time that was passed from people to people, from generation to generation. This film won a lot of awards in the world. It was shown in many countries, including London. And next, I'm going to show you pictures. This is the art. These are tulips. So these are special, decorations, traditional decorations that I made in metal. I made them lighter because normally it is made in stone. I made it in metal to make it lighter and made it more stylized. Next is what the brand is about. This is a fashion brand. It's a community that has been created around this brand. This includes educational programs that we make together with Kazakhstan residents in Reactor, and collaborations. Collaboration is very important also. This is an important component. That's what I'm calling you to. If you're interested, you can talk to me later. Now, fashion brand. Let me show you what it looks like in the picture. So this is the way I see the modern image of a Tatar woman. This is the reflection of the tradition, but using some modern silhouettes, modern details, rethinking ornaments, with having the same meanings but in different proportions, with tribal tattoos, with sweaters, with different book covers that were drawn in 1920, for example. I pay special attention to mystics, and I get inspiration from Tatar myths, from Tatar mythology. This is a very big world that tells us how our ancestors were thinking, how they were answering the questions about the world formation, about natural phenomena, and the territory that where I live in right now, for example. Not most of the time, but right now. This is Kazan and Tatarstan, and this become an inspiration as a geographical part because my ancestors were traveling around these places, meadows and forests. Just what I was inspired by was their songs, their visual code. I was trying to rethink those things and then provide my artistic vision through clothes and different accessories. Let me tell you about the design laboratory. In addition to promoting the cultural code in clothes, for me it is important to transfer knowledge, to share knowledge. And we created two codes, laboratories where young designers could participate, and under the mentorship of myself and with the help of Tatar culture experts, these guys were creating their own projects. For example, if you can see, this is the cards with the Tatar folklore. These are great souvenirs. Many tourists are arriving here, and people, think, what can you take home? You can take just a lot of food from Tatarstan, but it would be good if you can take some other souvenirs that could be kept for a long time or even passed from generation to generation. For me, as a creator, it was important to have these type of projects. As for the community concerned, and around our brand, there was around a lot of interesting arts, such as fun arts. These are the subscribers that were drawing different images that they were taken from our films. So they were inspired by our work, and this inspired them to make their own work. And I think that this is one of the greatest things that a brand can make. Now, where our products are worn, so mostly these products are purchased by Tatars who left the country, those who miss the country, the motherland, and this could be, just next generations who are living abroad. And right now, just a lot of people leave the country and who left in recent years, but they still want to remember their home and to wear something bearing Tatar language writings. It could be a Tatar hat to be taken. I know that, just very often people visit discos or concerts and they recognize each other by seeing these Tatar clothes. The way it was promoted or distributed, everything is done through the social media without any special target. People listen, people hear, people like it, and then post it, repost it. And this is the mouth-to-mouth promotion. And just a few words about our new vision. As I said, I started traveling a lot and spending much time abroad, and this is a new path for me as well. As I already said, this is an author's project. That means that this is a path from Tatarstan and beyond. I love Tatarstan, and I work on it, and I attract new people and artists who can work with people by promoting the Tatar code abroad. But I also get submerged into the cultures of other countries. I get to know their traditions, and my mission is to use 3 years. My mission was reformulated within 3 years. That is to say, maybe you should not, define some separate nations or nationalities. Maybe it's better if we get to know each other, if we get globalized, if we create new things, and if we get to know the cultures of other countries better. This way, I had a new collection which is called a Nomad. This is a hood for traveling in forests, in mountains, that can protect you against rain, snow, with light reflecting elements out of Tatar traditional ornaments, and a ring. When I was in Java volcano, I created this type of ring that, I was impressed by the local. This is a Zealand image, that is to say, a Draco that is said to live in Kazakhstan in the past. It's an interesting necklace that I made with Indonesians. So this is a collaboration that makes people get to know each other. You give the work to other people, and other people give work to you, and this way I like combining the traditions of different countries. These are small items that I also made, and this is probably the end. I'd like to make a call to others for collaboration, because I know that there are a lot of people from other countries, and so probably your businesses, your projects would be interested in interacting with me. I'm open to it. Please come up to me and please write to me. Thank you, Rahmet. Thank you, Tatiana. It's great that the brand already has international collaborations, as you have noted, in Indonesia, for example. One question of concern. As far as I understand, our foreign participants already can buy products and take those products as souvenir to their homes. Or they can take it not only as souvenirs, or they can buy a hat, take a hat that you have, for example, on your head. That's true. We are currently online. In internet. After a month, we will go offline. So, congratulations to me. This is also, just putting my routes into these area as well. And there's a QR code somewhere, but it's okay. Just come up to me or Google your Yule, and you can also look at what I have, because I also brought with me different hats. You can look at them, you can touch them, you can like them. I'm sure that this is going to be very interesting for the participants. We thank you. Next speaker, but before, I should say that why I like Kazan is because every day, every single day, there is some international event held. And in the next week in Kazan, there's going to be a fourth festival of media art, Nur. Today we have the creator of this international media festival, Rashid Osmanov. Nur means new, reality, something new. If I'm not mistaken, Nur actually means something else, right? That's right. So it's not only from Tatar language, no, because the forum is a cultural forum. Nur in Turkic language and in Arab language and in many other Oriental language, Nur means light. This is the light that we give to people in absolutely different epochs or times. And I'm happy to greet all of you. Thanks a lot for inviting me. Let me tell you about our project. Our festival Nur. Just let me try and turn it on. No, I can't, right? Nur, this is a large-scale project in the sphere of media art. This is a great festival that's been held for the fourth year in a row. And for 4 years, we gathered together media artists, digital artists, different musicians and performers from all over the world in Kazan. In Russia, this project is absolutely unique because there are only 2 projects of this type. It's us, and it's a project in Nizhny Novgorod, which is also along the Volga River. Even in St. Petersburg, you don't have this type of projects. But it all started 4 years ago as a very small idea, and with a small multimedia studio that did just only small multimedia projects. And we wanted to attract as many people as possible, different nations, different masses, into what is media art. Because right now, this is probably the latest form of communication in art that unites or that brings together all types of art, including music, art, design, architecture. If all types of art could be united in one, then it would probably call it media art. But in simple language, media art is when artists use modern technological approaches, modern equipment. And I always say that back in the past, there were computers that emerged, that popped up. And then some person thought that you can use a computer for something else, and this way you got a media art. So we are somewhere on the border between technology and science, between science and art. I've got a small video. It'll last for 1 minute only. Visual art is difficult to explain. It's better if you see it once. Therefore, please your eyes onto the screen, and at the same time, I will probably comment on it. This is audio-visual festival, so it's better if we can hear also the sound. The festival is held all over the city. Every year we select the best 15 best locations where media art arrives. As you can see, these are different projections, light projections on buildings, different laser installations, light installations, creating of a digital content, big art objects, big art installations. So now you understand what media art is about. It looks something like that if you see the film. Now, I'm not going to speak too much about our awards. Actually, this festival is something that people like, and we won lots of awards. But let me go back to the origin. There were lots of histories about origins, lots of stories about origins. But actually, there is a great injustice in the world when everybody knows that we need, video art, but nobody knows what is students. Everybody knows about bikers, but nobody knows about the bureau studio Prometheus. Prometheus is an agency that exists from 1960s. We are saying that Kazan is an art capital. Why? Because beginning from 1960s, in the very beginning, the first who were creating the video art, it was people who came from Kazan. Those were the students from Aviation Institute that got together with the students from a conservatory. This way, they united the technologies of music, and then there were the first musical art concerts, light and music concerts. What's unique about it, if you look at the concerts with light and music, the first time it was made in Kazan back in 1960s, or the singing fountains, many people know about them. This is a great attraction for people, great sightseeing for people. It was also created first time by the Prometheus agency. For us, it is a great honor to continue this activity, and it is living within our heart. We don't believe that we are followers or successors of Prometheus, because Prometheus is like is a big star. But what we're making our current modern interpretation. You have seen the promo film. Now, the festival actually is quite a big festival. Within 3 days last year, for 3 days last year, it was visited by 1,100 people. This is a great big figure for a festival which is made with its own efforts, of course, with the support of the city, with lots of locations support, etc. But nonetheless, this brings together more than 100,000 people from different places. Next, let me tell you about a very important event. Within few years, we gathered participants from 30 countries. Now, in all the world, artists they can file an application and participate in our festival. We're absolutely open because we make an open call every year, and everyone who wants to, they can make an application, and then we, as a festival, we just implement all technical measures. So what we do, we make a street exhibition of art objects from all over the world, but nonetheless, they all have to be art media objects if you want to participate in our projects. So here I'll talk a little bit about our approach. The festival, an important event in the festival is to bring together the very experienced players on the market. So it includes the biggest studios from all over the world and very, very young artists or painters who are just only entering this territory, who are only entering this area. For us, it is very important because this industry in Kazakhstan actually didn't exist, and in Russia it didn't exist before. In Russia, it was not well developed before, and this type of private initiatives in the form of festival, they push us to creating an absolutely new industry that in the future is going to make great consequences for the whole industry. An example, during the festival we invited young artists, and after they were presented in our festivals, after that they could fly all over the world to other festivals, could present their works elsewhere. So this festival is a platform where exhibitors or artists can make exhibitions of their works. So what happens is that people make an art object, then they exhibit it, then they show it in social network, and that's it. There is no professional platform where it could be presented. Therefore, this professional platform can be provided by us as a festival. Let me tell you about the locations. So this is also a very interesting phenomenon. Our unique feature is that every year we're looking for more than 10 extraordinary, unprecedented locations where the residents of the city can go for the first time. Those who were in Kazakhstan, they know the Bauman Street. But nobody knows that under Bauman Street there is a underground street. So during the festival, we are trying to provide this opportunity so people can have a look at it as well. Like 2 years ago, there was the first time, and this year there was a festival that was organized underground. We were cleaning it, and we're just preparing it, and lots of architectural specialties are actually hidden. You don't see them because they're underground. A festival is a great opportunity for tourists not only to see the art and get to know the city, and to see the places that are not so popular among tourists, because there are several locations where it's impossible to get to for tourists in ordinary days. So here, I'm not going to focus on it too much. Very quickly, the program of the festival consists of educational segment. We are trying to, in any case, we're trying to bring light in science, enlightenment. Therefore, education is a required element. One of the major programs, as I already said, is accompanied by a big ceremony of opening. During the Kazan Forum days, you can see this Kremlin Tower. You can go there and see the show around the Kremlin that is made within the framework of this Kazan Forum. The main program, here you can see a few photographs. On the right, you can see the underground. People are standing there underground where the Kazan circus was allowed to enter. For the first time, this circus was participating in such kind of projects, plus media, art, and everything that I was telling you. You can see it in the pictures here. To be short, to be very short, as brief as possible, we are very happy to any communications. We quite often organize projects outside Kazan. We help to organize art projects in other countries. We, as a festival, have a pool of artists that we work with and that we help them to develop. Therefore, we're always open and welcome to us. Thank you, Rashid. Let us give him a round of applause for this impressive presentation. This looks like, just captions from a film, but this is a reality, not just a film. And I'm sure that the participants are sorry that the Kazan Forum will not last for 2 more weeks.
To see this amazing festival with our nice, and we are moving on forward. In my mind, creative industries and sustainable development coexist in the same plane, in the same universe, and we find confirmation for this with this next Tatarstan project, Kular. This is a workshop where you can purchase furniture made out of recycled plastics. Besides, each piece of furniture has its own name. For example, table Duslar, which is translated from Tatar's friends. You can buy a couple of them to make sense of what is the process besides this furniture. We'll learn more about from one of its founder of this workshop. Alexander, please, you have the floor. Thank you very much. It's a little bit unnerving for me to speak after these amazing speakers with such large-scale, big, cool projects, but I'll still try. My name is Sasha Nikolaev. I'm a furniture and item designer. Yes, there it is. On my slide, Konstantin and I were co-founders of Kular, and for 10 years we've been doing item design. And what is Kular? Kular is for studio of item design. It means that we design and develop furniture, some very cool things. And Kular is also a brand in itself, a furniture brand that we come up with on our own. And we sell it to a wide range of customers and people. In general, we our main modus operandi is to work on the verge, on the intersection between minimalism and function, and also local identities. And I'll address the latter point in more detail. We like to come up with different funny stories about our items, about our pieces. We work with both natural and recycled materials. And I would also like to tell in more detail about our naming, about processing and recycling. So from the very beginning, unfortunately, I'm no native speaker, but I live in Kazan for approximately I've been living in Kazan for 15 years since my parents moved here. I love this city a lot. It became a true motherland, a true hometown for me. And right after we stopped getting our education with my friend Konstantin, we decided to come up with something, and we decided that this will have its own name. For sure it's going to be in Tatar language to underline and underscore the place, the location where it all takes place. We're named Kular. Kul means hand. Lar is a suffix for plural. So if we translate it from Tatar, we're called hands. This was a small reference initially as we came with these ideas and did it all. And we decided to spread this story further on to all of our items. All these stories are aimed more at a layman, an unprepared customer and user. So by that I mean, in general, what is culture per se? Culture is a combination of material and immaterial features and characteristics. May those be clothes, design pieces, architecture, music, literature. But what is also very important, an aspect of culture, is the language. And we, as naming and for all of these stories, we've decided to use the language, which is quite simple, maybe a little bit naive, childish way to learn some stories, and once again to remember for yourselves, for these people, for the outsiders who are not familiar with Tatar culture, this word, as an example of this chair. It reminds a little bit those hilltops, and it's all very simple. Actually, we've decided to call it Tau, which is mountain, translated from Tatar. Or, for example, this crescent-shaped table, that indeed is a very funny thing. We came up with it in a 3D modeling software. Well, we did our rendering. One table got stuck in another. We liked the concept, and we decided to make it in real life. And if we take a look at this from the beginning, then here we have two round tables which form a crescent shape. And this table is called Eye. Eye is a moon, translated from Tatar. Another thing, it took us some time to come up with a name for this chair, and we paid attention to the back of this chair. So this connection with the chair legs reminds us a lot of like ear, and we decided to call it Kalak, which is ear in Tatar, as you might have already guessed. This is the name that I like, which is a coffee table. It reminds and maybe is inspired by a donut, and it consists of two same halves. It's called tachemache, which is sweet in Tatar. And there is a funny thing about it, that these halves are symmetrical, and the name of this table, tachemache, is almost symmetrical in its way. These are the linguistical jokes we play with our product names. Of course, we have more products, but to not take too much of your time, this is Utyr chair. Its name is indirect function. Utyr is sit down in Tatar. So in our last catalog that we've recently published, we decided to play with this whole language story in a way, and in the title, in the main page of it, it's like a micro dictionary, a dictionary of sorts, and here we have names of pages, names of items. So, the second story about us that I would like to tell you, for the last 3 years, from a personal initiative, judging from it, we've started doing work, and we've started to work with recycled plastic. First of all, because this is a very important problem, and good design might come out of it, might show a different industry. Just how cool and how beautiful it can work with recycled materials. And I'll be quick to go along with the processes. We work with low pressure PND12, and you might have seen it, its symbol on the caps on bottle caps. So this is a triangle of recycling. So we do work with PNG2, and this is quite practical, good material. This plastics can be safely used in food. We can use it for various reasons, mostly cups, jerry cans. We sort them as per colors. We mash them in the small fraction in the right hand, and the only photo that we have that I wasn't able to find because unfortunately it's not looking exactly well, so it had a lot of it around it, but this is the thermal press that we used to bake this whole stuff, and we have also some elements in it, and we shape these various materials of various colors. And the trick here is that you can play a lot, you can experiment with it, you can get different color combinations through it. And another very interesting experiment we had, because processing and separation of initial plastics to different process. So we've tried it, we've sampled it. We have here multicolored plastics. So this is plastics that has never been sorted. It was just baked this way, and it ended up quite interesting and fun. A lot of constant over the last 3 years. We experiment a lot with plastics, with its color, with its thickness. You can see in the lower bottom, one panel is transparent. This is also a way to play with thickness, a way to play with PND, and using some certain designs. Plastic of certain thickness can be transparent. We also use it in lighting. And from the top, in this green hand, as they always say, is tene on our CNC mill, and we get a very interesting and cool thing, not only for Kazan, but we also do it from plastics, and we can use a very interesting plastics with a series of cycle. We have here the symbol that's there, and it's also there in parkour. We have a lot of leftovers from it. The photo might not be a best one, but it's in the lower. We have a lot of leftovers. We crushed them, and here we have the small corner with some architecture where we use we also do street changing rooms. That's on the quay close to Rama. We can reuse it For the third time, we've been processing it, and the color has become less bleak. So this is the way. I think that's it for me. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexander. And it's so fun that tomorrow our participants will go to Ram Extreme Park, and I think that they will all pay attention to this. From what I've understood, to the furniture that was designed in your workshop. Do I understand this correctly? That's in the Extreme Park. Please pay attention. And we move on forward. Participants from other countries come to Kazan. They wonder, marvel with cultural and architectural objects of capital, but IT is in huge demand. In the center of our city, there is a small, authentic Tatar village that's called Turan Alam. Its founder, Radik Abdurrahmanov, is with us today. And in the context of creative industries, he'll tell us more about Project Tuhan Batır, of which he is the founder of. Radik, please, you have the floor. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Good evening to you all. I'll have two presentations. First of all, I'll speak in two words, and the first part will be about myself, and the second is about Tulan Batır. And it's true that our complex is in the very center of the city, and I would like to say that our city is developing very quickly. Year over year, the tourist flow to our favorite city is growing year by year, and all the tourist places, they're actually filling up with our guests, and a lot of guests come to us from all over the world. In our complex, we've created this tourism cluster where we unite more than 30 residents, and these are people's trades, crafts. These are master classes that are now very popular in our complex, and we also have a Nikah center where we hold Nikahs. This is a Muslim rite, Muslim ritual. For our Nikah, we have all the components that are on the territory of our mosque. We have artists there, craftsmen, dresses sales for Nikah, and of course some number of halls that we provide to our guests. In general, in our complex, annually we hold master classes in our national bakery. We also do records. The biggest shkalavat, the biggest echpochmak, the biggest gubadu, the biggest tuturma. These are all traditional Tatar pastries. We invite guests to participate in this Guinness World Book Records. So we do those records, and then we give the fruits of our labor to our guests. As of today, in 2023, our complex welcomed 1,600,000 tourists, which is indeed a very large figure. In 2020, we had 1,200,000. In 2023, we grew by 1,600,000. So the number of tourists that come to our city is growing year over year, and the flow of tourism is only growing. I'll once again tell you that our complex unites craftspeople, workshops, museums, nikah centers, mosques, restaurants, bath and spa complexes, and this is the biggest production of silver. Soon became also a beauty and healthcare center, and these are kitchen utensils, dishes. If it's interesting to you, I invite you all to come to us. We'll always welcome you, meet and greet you. And another thing is we also hold the Republic events iftar. It's our complex from the Muslim spiritual service. For 12 years, we've been holding the biggest iftar in the country. This year, it hosted 12,000 people. And we also hold fashion iftar with showcase of Muslim fashion, and it's the most beautiful one in our country, where girls look for dresses. They have their own dress code. 200 tickets sell out in 25 minutes. The complex welcomes everyone and organizes. And on the territory of our complex throughout the month of Ramadan, we hold iftar every day. We feed more than 300 people. These are also master classes. And for tourists, there are lots of very interesting things. And we also hold a very interesting celebration of the holy month of Ramadan. Our guests come from all over the world. So this is the atmosphere of a village in the center of the city. No one has such kind of atmosphere, and our team has the task. Initially, it had the task where we inspire everyone to create the best national complex in the world. So here we do everything in our powers to be the best in the world, and the atmosphere that we create is unique one. I'll move on to Tugan Batyr project. We do lots of work with children. We hold a festival for children. I'm also head of the Wrestling Federation in the Republic. We hold a wrestling festival. It's our voice and songs competitions, a talent competition, and through conversations we have understood that our children are now lacking the image of a role model of the boy that would like to marry. Our children look at the Western content about Batman, Spider-Man, and we've decided to come up with our own national hero, who is Tugan Batyr, or Tugan Strongman. Batyr is the legendary strongman in Tatar. It's a unique project. It inspires me. It inspires a lot of gifted teams, not only me, but a lot of gifted teams who now work a lot on. And through this project, I think that we communicate our worldview, our experience of what's happening around us in the world today, and we want for our children to get through it the right values. We have a logo, which is an 8-pronged star, and above an arrow. Every star prong is symbolizing a quality of Tugan Batyr, which is kindness, compassion, tolerance, love for the Almighty, the ability to have secrets, generosity, and loyalty. Through fairy tales, we are able to communicate these values to the younger generations. Tugan Batyr has friends. Tugan means familiar, someone close, someone related to you. He's related to everyone. He travels all across the planet, finds friends across all the continents, all the countries, all the cities, and he conquers villains. Now we have the third fairy tale already written. We've presented the second fairy tale at all the international forums, and in the third fairy tale we take our hero on the journey to Turkey. He interacts with Turkish locations, Turkish characters, Turkish fairy tale characters, and huge support to us is provided by consulates of various countries that are now sitting in Kazan with interpretations of the fairy tales, with the presentations in other countries. Now we've made peace with now we've agreed with the Council Ambassador of Turkey that will present Tugan Batyr in Turkey. Yesterday, Bilal Erdogan visited us. I told him about the project yesterday. So he is the head of the International Federation of Ethnic Games, and we will also present this project in the Turkish Republic. And now we are carrying out a lot of work on cartoon series Tugan Batyr, which will include 52 episodes of the first season. And the team of Moscow animators that are one of the best in the country are working now on development of our characters. The production process is in place. I would like to say that by creating something for children nowadays, it has to be fashionable, trendy, contemporary, cool, because now you are not able to fool children. They watch a lot of things, they have good taste, they watch YouTube channels, they take a look at new technologies, they use artificial intelligence. That is why I'd like to get back. I'd like to also address here to make a compliment to our colleagues. Tanir Yul, she's sitting here because at the foundation of our fairy tale we took her images. So these are fairy tale characters who are wearing in the things that Tanya creates. Talkers, traditional Tatar pieces of dresses. These are certain images and persons and characters we take on it. We take it from the designers who do something really cool, something trendy, something fashionable, something that the young people like. And we will turn it all into souvenirs, into merchandise, into things that can be bought. Bow and arrows, clothes, stalkers. These are all very high quality things that look really cool. And we plan to come up with a mobile game. Now we're writing our design documents for this task. We were able to create a play that we're now showing in kindergartens in school. And they do participate in plays, they interact with it. And on the territory of our complex, we'll build the home of Tatar Fairy Tale. Along with our Academy of Sciences, we research our folklore that existed before the revolution, the fairy tales, the fairy tale characters that existed in the past. Not only we are having Shurale and Saulacel, we also have such characters as Almasty, Bichurao, Pur, Paltir, and these fairy tale characters we create through animations, through our legend. We also do it very renowned so that our characters are recognizable all over the world. This is our writer, Zulfat Hakim, our folklore writers and playwright. He came up with this fairy tale. Now we're working on the design of this fairy tale, which include editing work of artists that do the illustrations. And we also plan in August to present the third fairy tale that we will present also with us and abroad. And we also have a separate team that is involved in IT technologies. We have live augmented reality designs. If you download the story, if you click your phone on this title, then we have an animation in front of the telephone, and this same application will be implemented there. A mobile game will be there. There's also a website. Now you can purchase some products on the website that we have launched already. And in the future, we plan that we will have license holders that will produce something under our brand. And we are actively working and supported by Tatar Investment Fund that works abroad. We also actively participate in all the Sapantui celebration that are held abroad, and along with them, we work on developing and promoting our story, our fairy tale, and we also work under the guidance of our Mufti that gives us advice on what can be there in the fairy tale. His idea was that Tugan Batil has to have a superpower, the Zigir ring that he puts on his thumb. When he feels that he's right, he shoots and he never misses. If you'll see the video clip, then we'll see this in the teaser. This is the title. This is the title of our fairy tale. We create this Domandachak. These are the dockers, and I recommend you to buy her dockers. And I gift gifts to my friends on all their birthdays. I think these are the biggest. These are the biggest customers. We're the biggest customers of Tatiana because Tanya will like what she creates. There is Ladisa Rakam in our fairy tale. The villain, the anti-hero. I think that we'll show you our teaser, what our animator create. They will premiere the first episode in October. We come up with 52 episodes, our first episodes in October, and in August we'll have our third fairy tale. So read our fairy tale, and please. And this is the teaser. You can we have it on the screen. We have a person who believes in fairy tale, and then they end up in being in this fairy tale.
Kazan was built in the most fertile place on earth. The evil sorcerer Sarakhan tried to capture our beautiful country. He forced the Dragon King Zalan to fight with him. But I, Kalim Babai, defeated him. I put Sarakhan's power and the light of victory in the ring of Zikgir and took pity on King Zalat, who became our defender. Sarakhan wants his power back. But a hero has already been born who can stop him. The noble and brave Tugan Batir. Only he is worthy of possessing the ring. And no matter what Sarakhan plans, I fear not for my native land.
So,
Аплодисменты.
Thank you. This was Radik Abdurrahmanov who was telling you about the project Lambator. Now, as for the animation film, what video platforms is it going to be available for? Is going to be available so that our participants could see it in October when you show it. Right now, we have some arrangements with Kusir channel, Oko, Gazprom Media Premier channel. And I also think that it's going to be in YouTube. We are going to be everywhere. Thank you. So we are going to be waiting for it. We're going to be waiting for the release of this series on the project Tugan Batir. Now, during this session, we discussed different creative industries such as media, art, fashion, animation, publishing, design. And next project is a whole interactive park, or the Forest of Wonders, the Forest of Miracles. Now, can you tell us who is Kizhbabai and Korkazi during your presentation? Over to you.
Да-да-да, очень приятно. Так, представляю круглогодичный.
I'm representing the round year park of wonders for children and adults. As the previous speakers have said, ethnographic aspects of the Republic of Tatarstan is so versatile. We could say that in the whole of the Russian Federation we have so many ethnographic diversity. This is something that you can use for your ideas without any limits. And back in the past, some crazy ideas in 2008, some crazy ideas inspired Yulia, and then she said that there's going to be a magician in this land for children who is going to meet all children every year, who will and they have chosen this place next to the museum. Back then, we could have made a public-private partnership, but unfortunately, it didn't work. And for 10 years, exactly for 10 years, this project existed. This project of residence of Kizhbabai and Korkazi, it was created in this complex, and we used this place where 4 years. The Gabdulat Takai, the great Tatar poet, passed, and this place influenced all of his poetry, where he wrote fairy tales that have been mentioned, such as Inshurale, etc. And all this wealth that you can have there, that you can see there, we would like to be revealed. And all the speakers have said that the ethnography is about music, it's about fairy fairy tales. It's about folklore. It's about animations. It's about fairy tales. About mother language. This ethnographic that everybody wants. But some people are here for the first time. Some people live here for all life. I wasn't born in Tatarstan, but I am Russian in my ethnic origin. But I really love the Tatar culture. Yeah, just my friend will confirm it. And
Не прошло это бесследно, потому что
this influenced me, and this influenced the project. And this project, it was of a great resound in the Republic and beyond the Republic, because Kysh Babai also something that everybody knows all over the world, or at least in Asia. And back then, the tourists that arrived here, they wanted to come in summer, because this program was run only 2 months a year. And back then, in 2019, we have passed through all the problems to get this land into lease. And then on the 25th of May, we decided to open the park of, which is called the Forest of Wonders, so that we can work all year round as the residents of the Santa Claus and his granddaughter, Kysh Babai and Korkazy. And this is a unique territory of 2.5 hectares with a very beautiful landscaping. And it was built by villagers. It was built exactly in that village. Back in 1978, on the bank of the river of Iya. Those are very picturesque places. I invite you to come. But for you to see this park and to visit Kysh Babai, then you have to build some kind of beautiful fairy tale locations. And that wealth, that riches that have been mentioned by us, it influenced the development of Kysh Babai, so that he also had his daughter, which is Kashkazy or Korkazy. And also we created their houses, their utility houses. And we are always working on this design and making it from a scrap, but nonetheless, we also, just use mechanical dolls. We have a fiery dragon who can speak and who can release steam, and he has a Mizbach, who is his assistant. There are also dolls who tell you a legend about Kysh Babai, and in all entrances, in all places, there is a mechanical doll. And without the different, children's locations that you have in the park, it wouldn't be possible. When the park started working all year round, we then created lots of different programs, such as thematic excursions, quests, corporate parties, team buildings, etc. And our favorite program that has existed from 2008, this is a New Year's winter program, which is a travel into the reality of the fairy tale of Kysh Babai. Next, I can also show you my film, and where is it?
Остыли реки, и земля остыла, и чуть нахохлились дома. Это город, где тепло и сыро, это город, где тепло и сыро, а за городом зима, зима, зима. И уносят меня в звенящую снежную даль. Три белых коня, три белых коня, декабрь, январь и февраль.
Ну, спасибо за внимание.
Thank you. This is the end of my presentation. Not to keep you any longer, I am also waiting for partners for cooperation and for investors. Everything is in our hands. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Yulia. That is a very interesting park, and most importantly, it is open all year round because you get entertainment all year round, and they're all related to Tatar folklore.
Now we had plenty of projects about the creative entrepreneurs and traditional culture. So let me just give a quick recap. We had Your Yule project, Ms. Tatiana presented it, as well as the Kazan International Media Festival, Mr. Rashid Asmanov, Kullar workshop, Mr. Alexander Nikolaev, Mr. Radik Abdurrahmanov presented his Tugan Batyr project. Don't forget to watch the movie in October. And Miss Yulia Talanova, she presented Forest of Miracles in the residence of Kış Babay and Qar Kızı. And right now, I think we have time for the Q&A session. Projects are amazing. And while you're preparing, let me give a quick Russian translation. Сейчас мы проведем небольшую сессию.
Now we are going to have a small Q&A session. I'm sure that it was very interesting for our participants.
And you can address any speaker at the moment about any project. All right. Okay, so, yeah, sure. У нас есть вопрос. Секундочку, вам дадут микрофон. Если не затруднит, представьтесь, пожалуйста, из какой вы страны.
Please present yourself. My name is Selman. I am from Kyrgyzstan. I'd like to ask you a question to Rashid. Now, the question is, you said that you can create topical decorations of forest streets or the underground street. Can you tell me where that underground street is and what is in that underground? Well, actually, it's a big secret. We are going to reveal this secret for 3 days of the festival. In fact, historically, it was used for trade. It had different trading centers, boutiques. This is a street in the center of Kazan, in the street of Bauman. There is in the center of Kazan, there is a street which is called Bauman Street, and right there, underground, there is an underground street that is always closed, and it opens only very rarely, for example, for the days of festival. I actually don't remember where it was ever opened, but this is abandoned underground street. It was used for something before, and actually we have a few projects for renovation of this territory. The government is planning to finish some work, and I think that it's going to be a very good project, and the people are going to be allowed in. But in fact, it's just a longer corridor, a long corridor of concrete.
И когда-то произошел пролом этой улицы, и половина домов, они просели. Это исторический.
Historically, this street also had problems when it was broken for some time. Now, what they would like to do the renovations. And actually, what happened is that it was a street which was below, and then all the houses were lowered. We also have a question from the second row. Person of the second row. Yes, good evening, dear colleagues. My name is Pavel. I am from the Creative Hub project. We launched it in June. This is like a LinkedIn, but for creative specialists. It's going to be used for presenting tasks, assignments, creative projects, etc. We'd like to make it a big creative project, so this is a proposal to every speaker. To the first speaker, now, would you like to, provide with specialists or experts or leads who are going to provide information to other people from other countries? It could also be used to organize an event to select technologies for your tasks. Yes, I think that this is quite realistic. So this is one of our major tasks or goals, is to raise the awareness in this area. Therefore, why not? Yes, we are for some new initiatives or platforms. Okay, then let us exchange contacts and a question or proposal to you, colleagues. We can also exchange contacts with you, so you could possibly exhibit your works along with the works of other colleagues from China, from other countries, because we are hoping to expand and organize a cooperation. Thank you very much. We have two more questions. My name is Serim. I come from Kazakhstan. Those are very good projects, interesting projects. For me, what's interesting is the creative industries, actually. Those are creative projects, but how did you come up with creative projects? Did you just work in some place and then finally you came to the creative projects? Is it a question to all speakers? Yes. Let us start with you, Julia, if you're not against. I just had an idea. It was back in 2008. It just came up to my mind that we have such a great culture, but this culture is not yet revealed or discovered among people. And I worked in tourism back then, and I then hosted, thousands of tourisms, and then I wanted to show it to them. Like other speakers said, you wanted to reveal it even more to them, because when people come to a country, but then after some time they've started forgetting things. It's like after, Soviet Union. That was a Soviet. Kazakhstan was also a Soviet country. So can you remember? It was like opening, but it was in 2005, etc. When we went to exhibition to Moscow. And then in Moscow we are there, and then they said, Kazan, what is it? What is that city? What are its scientists? What are its sightseeings? And we said we have so many different sightseeings. And then, thanks to a millennium, to 1,000 years anniversary of Kazan, it gave a great impetus to the city, a great push to the city, and that's what we wanted to tell others, including through international exhibitions, or like through the Kashbabai village that we visited in Astana with. And this gave a great push by the first president. And then there was Universiad, and then other international projects that are organized in our republic. So 3 major cities, St. Petersburg, Kazan, and Moscow, are the greatest tourist sightseeing cities. Okay, now we are in the Kazan Forum is also thanks to the impetus that was given through the 1,000 years anniversary. Radik, over to you. So how did you come to the creative industry? I'll answer it this way. What is happening in the Turan Batar project? This is actually a project that comes from God, from the Almighty One. This project should be used for developing the pride among our young generations. The values of these projects are quite common, such as love to people, to father, to ancestors, to our nation. And if you know, now in Marvel, Disney is investing lots of money, billions of dollars of investments, and the whole world watches those films, those animation films. If you look at the latest Marvel's films, in some films there is a transgender propaganda, which is not acceptable in our country, in the Turkic Arab world, and would like to keep the traditional values that were inculcated in our code of Tatars, that are coming from our ancestors. That is why a lot of talented people are working on the development of this project. I hope that I did answer your question. Thank you, Radik. Next, the floor is to Alexandra. Alexander?
Я опять буду после глобальных каких-то...
After some global answers, I'm going to speak in a very local language. Actually, it seemed like we never left that project. It all started with my childhood. I had different hobbies and things like that. And it was very simple to do because when we finished the university, it was like a micro hobby. When a friend of mine asked to make 2 lanterns, and then it was a word of mouth, and then after a few years we started working with in a more meaningful way, using more technologies and methodology. Tatiana, over to you. I also started from childhood. I was always fascinated with observing the world and researching simple things. And when there was more opportunities and I started traveling around, I saw what's happening in other countries. And I really wanted to bring things from other countries and to keep material memory. Knowing, and the same thing about Kazakhstan. I know that Kazakhstan has a very powerful visual possibilities, and so I thought that we need to implement new projects. And then I had friends who came here, and they said, "What can you take away from here? Where is a shop with local designers?" And back then we didn't have those type of shops. And then I decided that something needs to be done, so that is why I created this project, and this is the result that you see right now. Thank you, Tatiana.
Okay, all right.
And the last is Rashid Osmanov.
У меня, наверное, это все объединилось. Я еще...
It was all combined in my life because back then in school I started doing video production. I was always attracted by video content, and then we somehow grew into creating advertisements, into short films, and I started being a director of different projects, and I was a director of different light shows. And then I understood that there is actually a separate area that is called media art. And then I went once to a festival abroad. I loved that festival. And back then I thought that I would really like to make the same thing in my city. And what I did in my city, this desire to make something in my city was the strongest one. And in this format, without having any big experience for organizing a big festival, little by little, we went to our goals. But we were also given great competences. We had great competences. Therefore, we were already ready for making a festival of this type. We had just a gradual movement towards this experience. Thank you for your stories on how you came into creative industry, on your background and your recovery. There was a question here, right?
Okay, all right. So my name is Ayomi Dagbaji, and I'm from Nigeria. So back home, one of our biggest exports is not even our oil and gas. It's our creative industry. It's our music. It's our entertainment. It's our movies. So I just want to, I was really fascinated with all of the work all of you are doing. So I just want to ask, what is the global appeal of what you're doing? For example, in my country, artists, musical artists, they sing, and then these songs are heard, are being listened to all over the world. They go to the United States, they go and have shows there because the creative export of Nigeria has a global appeal, and that has fostered its growth, made a lot of musical artists in Nigeria billionaires overnight. So I just want to ask, what is the global appeal of what you're doing? Can someone like me, who is in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, stay glued to my screen, stay glued to my phone, watching all of the creative outputs you all are putting out there?
Thank you. Just to clear your question, you were asking about the global output of their projects. Okay. Итак, вопрос нам задает участник из Нигерии.
Okay, so the question was about the global output of your projects, global impact. Maybe you had already some impact into internationally, especially taking into account that you have cooperation.
Хотели рассказать об этом подробнее. Думаю, что можно задать вопрос. Is it for all speakers or for just one of them? Okay. Oh, all right. Вы можете все ответить или кто-то, кто хочет.
Я могу ответить.
Спасибо.
Ну, однозначно мы свой проект делаем международным.
No doubt we are trying to make our project international. We make it in different languages right away. We have invited all our consuls in our republic. We translated it into Kazakh, Turkish, Chinese, English, and we are doing everything that is possible so that our Tugan Batir is recognized all over the planet. So that not only a Tatar hero, but it could be a hero for everyone, because Tugan Batir means he's a hero for everyone. Tugan name is used everywhere in Turkey, in all Turkish languages. Batir, it means, strong man. And we had presentations, international presentations. We made a presentation in Dubai. We had a presentation in a cinema forum that is attended by many countries. We have already had some arrangements on that. We're planning to provide our content, our animation, and we're planning to send it to other countries as well. When we have the first season released, then we are planning our animation, our fairy tale or legend to be adored all over the planet. We have this goal, and that's what we are aspiring to.
Since the beginning, when we started our festival, the first idea of it was the world collaboration. So the art has no boundaries, has no limits, and the art always been in a free dimension. So the main idea of us, it was just to communicate from all the artists around the world, to be just open to them and see what they have inside their culture. My biggest idea is when one day we will become one of the most famous festivals all around the world and bring all people from all the countries, that they can show their own appearance of culture here in Kazan. That would be for me like the greatest achievement in my life, because I think one of the deepest thing that we have in our cultural heritage, it's actually hidden in just in every person inside, as I said, in musicians, in artists. So I think it's a good way just to extend it and to show it to the global community. So for us, our international impact to the world, first of all, it's the chance to collaborate between people and to create a dialogue between the people. So I think this is the most important for our project, just to be open and collaborate. And I know there are a lot of examples when actually artists from here, they start to travel to another countries and start to share our culture. And usually it's very interesting because, as I said, sometimes I don't know that much deep maybe about culture in Nigeria, but when I meet someone like you who tries to explain what it's like and tries to show me, I get new knowledges. And when I get new knowledges, I get more inspired, and probably I have much more ambitions in my life to do something. So, and probably that works in opposite way. Probably before you come here, maybe you never thought about Tatar culture. And now you know a little bit, so you can go home and explain something about them. So I just go for international communication without any boundaries, as art actually always been the part of free dialogue all across the world. So for me, I think it's very important.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rashid. And I can't find more insightful remarks to finish our today's session. Once again, it was on promoting national and traditional culture through creative entrepreneurs. На этом, да, конечно.
Я хотела тоже чуть-чуть добавить.
Безусловно. Sorry for interrupting. У нас еще есть ремарка от мисс Юлии.
Да, на последний вопрос.
The last question. The winter magician has a post. So people from all over the world, including Nigeria, send letters to this Santa Claus of Tatarstan, to Kushbabai. And what's most interesting, latest we had letters from Japan. And we were invited to go to Japan, but unfortunately there was the pandemic, and right now, it's being recovered. But in any case, we have lots of different artists coming from all over the world. Santa Claus from Finland, we also traveled to Finland. So tourism continues existing, but fairy tale tourism is another niche that exists in our life. And the children who write letters, for example, Germans write a lot of letters. From Britain, they write a lot of letters. From the United States, and we also invite them to our park. So we have international contacts, and they will continue existing, and you just need to believe in that. Thank you, Yulia. Would like to add something else? I'd also like to add something that I have forgotten to tell you. When we were creating the image of Tugan Bater, we collected the photographs of children from all over the world. We invited bloggers, people from federal government, from the Ministry of Education. We got photographs of children from Spain, Canada, Japan, etc. So we have also Tatar diaspora in United States and Turkey, etc. And not only Tatars who sent us the photographs, but others, etc. And we used artificial intelligence to make a photograph of Tugan Bater. So our Tugan Bater's image, it includes more than 5 million people, I guess, from all over the world, and more than 10,000 photographs that were processed by artificial intelligence. So this was our measure to create a Tugan Bater. How wonderful. Thank you for your answer. I think that this is going to be the end of our session. Now, we had today Tatarstani projects that have already been working with international partners. So therefore, if you have any ideas for cooperation and collaboration, please exchange your contacts with our speakers. All of them are open for that, as they have already said in their presentations.
We are finishing our today's session. Upcoming program is the hockey match. I hope you're all prepared for this one because it's gonna be spectacular. Участники после этой сессии.
To this session, people will go to hockey match. This is going to be a very interesting for them experience. And we thank all of you for having visited us today. We hope that everyone, all of the projects will be taken into account by our participants when they work on their cases tomorrow. The work will start tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, they will defend them in front of international experts and juries. Thank you for your attention.
Round of applause for our speakers on today's panel session. Thank you so much.